Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. We are just a little bit over 24 hours removed from the announcement of the next Doctor, who's going to be what I mispronounced as Ncuti. It's actually pronounced Ncuti. Gatwa. Somebody who, I'll just be completely honest, I'd never even heard of until yesterday. That's not a bad thing. I'd never heard of Matt Smith until his announcement as the Doctor. But I'd never heard of them. But apparently they're on a pretty successful, maybe, Netflix show called Sex Education. And I've got all these sort of question marks around me, not because I'm trying to be particularly cynical in any way, but when it comes to the industry blowing smoke up its own arse, that's one thing that it is absolutely 100% incredible at. So I don't really know how popular this Netflix show truly is. It seems to be, at least within the industry, popular. Now, the initial few words that we got from Ncuti was that he was excited, that he was looking forward to taking over, a little bit nervous. And they said kind of all the right things that you would hope. You know, he didn't come out and say, oh, Doctor Who is only catering for the male gaze like Jodie Whittaker did or anything like that. And so at least we seem to be off on the right foot. The character is back to being male again, at least. And I think the Doctor, as I've said multiple times, is a male character. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having gender-specific roles. I know we live in this crazy age where the far left are trying to dissolve gender. They're trying to get rid of gender. There's 68 million fucking forms of gender now, which there isn't, of course. There's the male and the female. And that's it. Everything else is this fabrication of social media and mental illness and anxiety and narcissism and all these other words that I could use that social media has not just brought about, but actively encouraged. I watched a great video by Sydney Watson earlier today about TikTok and how it caters to, let's just say, vulnerable people. People who are very prone to taking on board what people say, very prone to sliding down the old trend mill. And so if they are pushed by people to do something, then invariably they'll do that. And it causes all sorts of personality breakdowns with them. So with that said, and after the farcical Whittaker run of Doctor Who, one was hoping that we might get back to at least some semblance of normality once again. But here we are, just a day removed from that announcement. And last night was the British BAFTAs. I don't care. I don't give a shit about adult pretenders being given plastic trophies for their... It's just an industry award. It's nothing special. Just an industry that has more money than multiple other industries, that's all. And it's also an industry which, of course, is built on looks and ego and all that sort of jazz. And so the narcissism is rife. As my kitty cat is trying to choke on her water. So here we go. He's being interviewed by somebody who he's known for approximately 10 years or so, by the sounds of it. She was very excited at his casting. And then when asked a more general question, this isn't specific to Doctor Who, and I'm not trying to make it that way. However, obviously, he's talking about the industry in general now. And so that does include all the roles and everything that he sees and perceives within the industry. And once again, we have the words. So I will click the interview and you can hear exactly what is said.
I have just loved seeing the strides taken in terms of representation, and I think like there's a lot more that we can do. There's a lot being done.
Yeah,
there's
honestly.
a lot of wonderful things being done. But yeah, just seeing the diversity on screen is.
I'm just going to stop it there for now because we've already heard the two buzzwords. We've heard the diversity and we've heard the representation, the big lie, which the far left have been pushing now for about 5 years or so. The big lie that it never existed and it's horseshit. And what's really kind of grating about this is he stood by Russell T Davies, an openly gay man who we all knew that from back in 2005 when he became the showrunner of Doctor Who, and how many people were worried about that, bothered about that? Nobody whatsoever, because we were a tolerant society back then, and we were not looking to discriminate against people in that regard. Those days seem to be over. And of course, in Russell T Davies, I say of course because it's the BBC, really, but in Russell T Davies's Doctor Who, there was always plenty of representation, whether it be through the cast, whether it be through the extras that came along. When I say extras, I mean guest stars in episodes, and we had black people, brown people, gay people within the run of Doctor Who. It was always there. We've had black companions, black gay companions, black boyfriends to companions. It's representation has always been there. And then there's a question which we'll get to in a moment. There's some people don't want to hear because it causes a bit of a rabbit hole in today's society. But I'm going to ask that question because I'm not a fucking coward. So let's just carry on because there's just a little bit more to be said.
It's been great and pushing that. Yeah.
I feel like we've all got a lot bolder with the messages and the conversations that we're opening up using TV, via TV.
I feel like we've got bolder. Now, this is the interviewer, not the interviewee. So this isn't Ncuti who's saying this, but obviously they're privy to this. They're part of this conversation. They're agreeing with this conversation. They've become bolder with the messages. Exactly what we don't want. We want you to be bolder with the enter-fucking-tainment, not the messages. It's the messages which, of course, are not rounded messages. They're partisan messages as well. So it's only coming from one equation. And because the entertainment industry is so skewed towards the far left, all you get, in other words, is propaganda. And we're pissed sick of it. And one of the reasons the BBC is being defunded and the license fee will go in 2027 is because of this partisan attitude that they have. And I got a little bit pissed, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm getting a little bit irate, that the fact that Russell T Davies joined in.
Where do you think we're at now? How important is that now?
I think we're in a good place. I think we're in a worrying place. I think we've got a government that's about to sell Channel 4 and has said that the BBC licence fee comes to an end in 2027. So, you can have all your television programmes sponsored by Cadbury's, but they won't be as good.
Russell then goes on to say, vote for a different government. Vote for a different government to get the Conservatives out because they want to get rid of the TV licence. Russell, it's all well. I love you to pieces. I really do. You've done so much for Doctor Who in terms of when you brought it back and bringing incredible actors in, particularly David Tennant, who's now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, one of the most, if not the most iconic Doctor alongside number 4, Tom Baker. But Russell, it's easy to say this when you're getting free money from the British public. It's easy to say this when you're literally having people have money stolen from them so you and others of your ilk, your directors, your showrunners, your producers, can create what you want. Not necessarily what the British public wants, not necessarily a well-rounded show. And I got to say, with Russell T Davies, I have to say, with Russell T Davies, his Doctor Who, I didn't think was woke in the slightest. I didn't think Russell T Davies's version of Doctor Who was. I think it was exceedingly entertaining. And I think it was very fair in as much as the way that it tracked the characters. But we're now, unfortunately, 13 years removed from that. And we're living in a different era where, as this woman just said, we're becoming bolder with the messages because you're playing with other people's money. And social media is so fucking skewed now that if you dare challenge anything, if you dare use a modicum of common sense, you're just absolutely dogpiled to pieces. And the people controlling the social media also align with that ideology. And so what do? They tend to get rid of the people that spoke the common sense. They tend to get rid of the people that tend to ask the questions. Why? When diversity and inclusion has always been here, why are you pretending it isn't? Oh, there's a racist right there. There's a white supremacist right there. You had one fucking job, Ncuti. Hi, it's going to be a great pleasure to play the Doctor. I'm very excited and very scared and very nervous, but really raring to go. There you go. That's all you had to say. But no, you have to come out with your fucking inclusion and diversity and messages bullshit. And now, what do? You just cause more fragmentation, more division within the Doctor Who community, because all we hear is far-left ideology, just like the Chibnall shite. So I'm going to ask the question which people are afraid to ask. I'm just going to show this, because this shows a perfect example of how bias and one-sided Twitter is right now. Ncuti Gatwa will be the next Doctor Who. It's the next Doctor. That's all, but never mind. This guy just puts Doctor Woke. We'll get back to this in a minute. And then this person replies, this is literally just racism. Pride flag. Oh my God, daisies, cookies. With 123,000 likes. Who the fuck is liking this? Well, of course, it's the Twitter algorithm which pushes this sort of ideology. And as the Quartering, who retweeted this, says, and let's just bring the Quartering in right here. 123,000 people like this tweet, and almost none of them will watch the show. That's factual. That's a fact. I'd be amazed if 5% of the people that have liked this tweet watch Doctor Who. Honest to goodness would be. His casting won't change terrible writing. Ask Batwoman. We all know about Batwoman. So I'm going to ask the question. This guy's put Dr. Woke. Why has he put Dr. Woke? Well, he's clearly put Dr. Woke because Ncuti Gatwa's a black male. And then before Ncuti, what do we have? We had the Doctor gender changed from a male to a female. Before then, what did we have? We have the question which people don't want to hear. We have, is the Doctor a straight white male? Because through every iteration of the Doctor up until that point, they had been. And then when you mention these sort of things, if you mention the color black, or if you mention brown, or if you mention different ethnicities, then you're fine. But when you mention, should a character be white, suddenly you're racist, you're a white supremacist, and you're all this kind of nonsense. But no, when a character has been canonically a straight white male for over 50 years, 55 odd years, shouldn't that character therefore be canonically a straight white male? It's only the far left's ideology which has changed this, which changed the Doctor from canonically male into a female character as well, because suddenly the Time Lords can regenerate between genders, which they couldn't do until the far left ideology got hold of it, and could also regenerate through color as well. Now, I have no problem. I had no problem when Freema Agyeman was cast as Martha Jones. I had no problem when Billy Potts was brought on as a gay female black companion. I had no problem with Mickey being Rose's boyfriend in the first season of the New Who. No reason at all. Because that's just the casting. That's who they are. Fine, no problem. But when you have an established character like Doctor Who, shouldn't they, who have always been canonically straight and white, shouldn't they continue to be straight and white? No. The reason why they've been changed is purely an ideological decision. And the whole point is we want ideology out of our entertainment. That's not saying we want black people out of our entertainment or gay people out of our entertainment or brown people out of our entertainment. Not in the slightest. We're saying stop fucking around with established franchises. Because the fan bases are what have made those franchises so popular for so long. And so when people see or hear that their fandom is going to go onto the big screen or is going to go onto the small screen, they are looking for a representation of who those characters are going to be through the canonical history of the character. And this is why we hear things from Kurtzman in Star Trek saying that, well, canon is such a difficult thing to keep hold of. Russell T. Davies made subtle changes to the Doctor Who canon, changes which weren't breaking the franchise, little changes of how the Doctor regenerated, the look of the regeneration, things like this, just kind of giving it a slight modern touch to it, but without breaking any of the established lore, canon, or history of the Doctor. I have nothing against Ncuti Gatwa, but one can only think now, judging by what he said, by what Russell T. Davies is also saying, and by the fact that it's the BBC and the previous history of Chibnall and Whittaker, that this is now looking more ideological by the day. And we're only one day in. So that's not really good. What we wanted, and it isn't much to ask, is we just wanted Doctor Who, the 55 years of Doctor Who, to be respected. But no, we get the typical inclusion and diversity, messages, blah, blah, frickin' blah. Every bit of little tinge of hope that I had from yesterday is now evaporating at a rapid rate of knots. That's got nothing to do with me. That's got everything to do with the people involved. Your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, etc. job should be to entertain your audience. Not to push an ideology, not to push your politics, not to push the way that you feel about things. That's the last thing that should be injected in. And this is why, once again, the BBC find themselves on the cusp of becoming defunded by the government. Because if you want to make ideological decisions, find your own fucking money. Stop stealing from the British public to make what you want to make. I think I've said enough. I said all I need to say. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and YouTube for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.